Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're listening to this. My name is Imbal Claudio, and I'm sitting down with Blaire to talk about her amazing business.
Hi.
Thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to talk to you.
Yay. So Blaire and I have connected a couple times already. We initially met each other through Facebook, and I joined her amazing group, which she'll mention. But she's been a great resource to have. We connected on Zoom a couple times. So I'm really excited for you guys to hear about her business and how she built it. So let's start from the beginning. Let me just ask you to give an introduction, where you're from, how you got into the business that you are, and yeah, let's go from there.
Sure. So my name is Blaire. She said I'm a brand strategist and entrepreneur. And what I do for a living is I help entrepreneurs, small to medium-sized businesses with their marketing and branding initiatives. And then I do a lot of work with solopreneurs as well, where they'll come to me and ask me, they'll have 100 ideas. And then I'm like, okay, love your passion, love your ideas. Let's bring it in and make a roadmap for you. So then I'll build a roadmap so that way they get on the right focus path to build up their business. So that's a little bit about what I do on my day to day. And then, but I'm originally from Oklahoma, but I moved a lot growing up. I lived in New York for the past 10 years until the pandemic hit. Now I'm in Florida. So I'm surrounded by palm trees, which is so nice now. And so yeah, I think that answers it, right?
Yes, no, that was perfect. So, how long ago did you start your business?
I actually started in February 2020, the infamous month right before the pandemic really hit the States. So I've been running it for almost 2 years now.
And what made you decide to kind of go on your own and start your own business?
So my background is a little bit of a roller coaster, as most entrepreneurs are. I started my first business when I was 16, and I was designing and creating handbags. And I did that for about 8 years. And I loved everything about it. I actually went into the fashion industry for school. And that's kind of what started my path. And then in and out of working in corporate offices, I was just trying to find new ways to do entrepreneurship. I started a Amazon FBA business selling unicorn party supplies a few years ago, because I just knew corporate life wasn't for me. And I was just trying to figure out what would be my actual spot, like what makes sense for me, how can I make it work? And Amazon ended up having its own twists and turns for myself. And I had to get out of that one because it didn't seem like the right path. So I was continuing in marketing and fashion. And then I just thought, you know what? I really have to take an entrepreneurship leap. So I decided in 2019, I was just going to resign from my job and figure it out as a freelance writer. So I did that for several months. A good friend of mine reached out to me and she goes, "Hey, what are you doing these days? Are you still doing marketing?" I was like, not really. Why? She goes, "Well, this brand I'm working on really needs marketing. You should meet with the founder." And I was like, that sounds good to me. So I met with him, and it actually worked out to where I was doing their marketing for a while. So that was really the start of it, I would say, in February 2020. And it just from there has spiraled into what I'm doing now. So I'm very thankful for that friend.
Yeah, and I'm curious, you said that the corporate world isn't for you. Like what specifically? Because I know as entrepreneurs, like you despise the corporate world for different reasons. I'm wondering what your reason is.
Well, for me, it was just, coming into a desk every day, and which, I mean, I do that now technically, but it's for myself. And I just knew I couldn't get past certain, the ladder. You just can only climb so high. And I thought, well, I just want to try things my way, how can I grow myself as a person, be creative, and just work for myself. And I work way more hours now, but it's so worth it because it's just that inner drive, something in you whenever you're thinking, how can I build this out? How can I do it myself? And then being able to help other entrepreneurs achieve that themselves, for me, is super, super, super rewarding.
Yeah, I remember one of my girlfriends when I started my candle company. I was making candles like morning, evening, night. I was constantly like social media and all this stuff. And I told her, I'm like, you could totally be an influencer. Like she's loves traveling. She has so many amazing photos. And she's like, it's too much work. Like, I don't want to do that. And thinking in my head, I'm like, but when it's something for yourself and your business and you're passionate about it, I don't feel like it's work necessarily, like you
Yeah.
don't dread it, you enjoy it, but to each their own.
Yeah.
And so when you first started freelance writing, how did you get people to work with you? How did you find people that way?
Actually in Facebook groups. I mean, Facebook groups are my go-to. Like I was in several writing groups and this person reached out, was like, hey, I need a freelance writer for this fashion publication I'm doing. It'll probably be ongoing projects, etc. And so I just jumped on it and I was like, yes, I'll take it. I'll take this small project. And then for very little pay at first, I was like, I just need to get some, different clips so I can show people like I actually can write. And then I'm really happy I took that risk for the low pay at the beginning, because then it did build up over time because she kept hiring me back and giving me more opportunities.
Yeah, Facebook groups are something that I'm kind of new to, just because I feel like in my head, like Facebook was so like passe, so everyone's
Yeah.
on Instagram. But as far as building your business and looking for specific things, Facebook groups is huge. So you have your own.
Yes.
What made you start your own Facebook group?
Yeah, my group is the successful small business and entrepreneur community. And I decided to start it because I thought, okay, how else am I going to reach these entrepreneurs without not going door to door, right? There's a need for the community because entrepreneurship can be a very tough journey. And by can be, it just is a tough journey because you have this vision in your head to start a business and you're doing it and you're juggling 5,000 things at a time. But you're telling your friends about it too, and they might look at you like you're crazy because they're like, why do you have to work that hard? Why are you working those hours? You're still working, or, they just don't really understand it. And it's hard to communicate that if it's not built yet completely. So to have a community of people where you can put something on a Facebook wall, ask a question, and just outsource information or get a bunch of resources really for information. It's just so much easier that way. So yeah, that's why I started it. I thought that's how I'll get a group of people that I want to talk to from my brand and also make it valuable for them as well.
Yeah, I mean, the way that you engage with the users in your group is so awesome. Like posting wins, talking about, what you have going on for the week, and like I just love it because it really does feel like you're building a personal relationship with somebody, which I think is lacking in a lot of the other groups.
I'm so
Which
glad.
is why I love your group so
Yay.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's
So
what I want it to be. I want it to be personal because why not? We're all in this together. We all should be cheering each other on for wins because we all know what big of a deal it is whenever you hit those goals. And when you're trying to achieve them, if somebody could pop in and help them out. I've had people do that to me in other groups. And I thought that was so cool. Like for my first project, I was asking people like, what do I charge? I have no idea. And this one woman in a random Facebook group went out of her way to calculate what she thinks it should be for me based on my experience and all these other factors. And I was like, I don't even know this person. And she's just so kind helping me out. And so I wanted to have a community that I could, kind of help create the conversations.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you're doing it. I love it. So a couple questions for you about your Facebook group. So when you first started, how did you get people to your group when it was kind of small? Like people don't want to join a group with like 10, 15, 20 people. So how did you build it to where it is today?
Oh, to be totally transparent, because why not? I definitely had my friends and family sign up at first because I was like, what person is going to sign up for this group of 5 if they don't know me, right? That's just crazy. So I did reach out to actual entrepreneur friends, and people that would understand it and it would actually give them value too. I reached out to them first, and then just to bump it a little bit more, I was like, okay, guys, just please sign up for the group.
Yeah.
You can leave later if it has nothing to do with you, but just like, let me get some people in there.
Yeah. No, you got to do what you got to do,
Yeah, you have to.
And then, so you find people from other groups that you think would find value in your group. What other groups do you find yourself gravitating towards to find good people for your group?
Really a lot of female entrepreneur communities. Those are the best ones because they always want to, support each other and find other resources as well. Also ones like Create and Cultivate is a good one just because they're a networking group, the Female Founders Collective, things like that.
Yeah. I totally agree. I love that women are supporting women. I feel
Me too.
It's huge. And it's so like the places that you can go when other women support you is just endless, which I love.
1,000%. Look at us on video today too.
I know. So one question I have for you as a business, so you're a brand strategist. So what do you want to tell people who are just starting out their business, who maybe don't have, as much funds to go to branding, as they would other stuff, how would you prioritize branding for a new business?
Branding, it's so important at the beginning, just to get it right. I mean, you're going to change it a million times later, but what I see most often is entrepreneurs will come to me with their website built and whatnot, which is great. But then they're like, it makes no sense what they're doing on their website, or nothing looks cohesive as far as colors, fonts, what they're saying about what they do as a business. So I'd say on a budget, the most important thing is just when you're building this out, because you can do it yourself, of course, on a very small budget, like you can just utilize Canva or WordPress, it's free. Just make sure you go and make everything consistent looking. Use the same colors every time, pick 5 good ones, use the same variations of, 3 different kinds of fonts. And the message behind it is the most important as well, because you need to make sure that people know what you're doing every time that you're putting any content out into the world. It makes sense to them, what value you bring to the table, and also give them a little backstory of why you're doing your business. Because if you build that little backstory, people are going to connect more. It's actually been scientifically proven that your brain will grasp onto a story and background more with a brand than if you don't have that built out. People will just think, oh, it's just, pass, next. So build out your brand story and then make sure all the branding is cohesive looking. I'd say that's it. And you could do that all on a budget.
Yeah. And I think first impressions are so important.
Yeah, exactly.
It's huge because, people will remember your name and they're like, oh, I already saw that. And it's just not that great. And it doesn't fit my aesthetic, or it doesn't, so it's huge. I agree.
And they're more likely to stop whenever they're scrolling on Instagram or Facebook if they recognize your brand, because they'll be like, oh, she's been up to some really cool things lately. Let me see what she has to say. And then they'll actually stop and look at it. It's more likely to capture people's attention.
Yeah, I agree. I just redid my homepage, as you know. And so I stopped doing a lot of my marketing and emails and messaging people because I didn't want them to see my old homepage until it was revamped, because I wanted to reach out to them and I wanted them to sign up, but I wanted to wait until they had the full experience. So I totally agree with you.
I know it's hard to wait though.
I know it is.
I know I need to be doing this stuff, but at the same time, you're right. You need to just, roll it out at the same time. Hey, we had a facelift. I think that's what your email said. I loved it.
Yeah.
But it looks really great.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah. So one of the hardest things for me, as you know, as a business owner, is there are super high highs and super low lows.
Yeah.
So it's just getting through those low lows. So how do you kind of cope with either bad news or just a rough day or a rough business week? How do you pull yourself out?
That's a great question, because that is so true. You really do have high highs and low lows. But to get myself out of it, I honestly just try to stay positive and, focus on moving forward. You might have a setback, but just if you're feeling down about it, just continue to push forward. You're like, okay, this happened. It's going to happen this way. Like, you just learn from it, you move forward, you take another small step forward past it, and then surround yourself with really positive people that are supportive. Because you have your friends that love you, but maybe they don't understand what you're doing. But you really need to build up that community that's going to hype you up. And if you are having that down week, they're like, yeah, but you're out there doing it and you're moving forward. And so many people wouldn't take those risks. So if you're around people like that and you're like, all right, you're right, I did take that risk, I am doing it. You know what I mean? Like, you just have to have that positive influence. And so just surround yourself with people like that, and, sign up for communities that are like-minded, or a like-minded collective.
I had one of my like really close guy friends. We've been friends for, I guess, almost 20 years now, which is crazy, but he's an entrepreneur. He has built out a gym, and he's always been in personal training and physical fitness and things like that. And he called me up one day. I was walking in Target, and it just so happened that I had like a rough business day. And he just called me up. He was like, I just want to let you know that I'm seeing your reels. I'm seeing that you're putting so much effort. You're killing it. You're doing such a good job. And it was like a 1-minute conversation that just totally made my day, Yeah. And it just made me realize that 2 seconds of your time can help somebody's entire day. So I agree, like, surround yourself with amazing people, find a great support system of people who not only love you because your friends do, but like understand you and understand that you need that support,
Yeah, exactly. Just a couple of seconds, it changes the whole day,
Yeah. No,
makes you remember why you're doing it.
Yeah.
We need those reminders sometimes, for sure.
I know. I feel like every day it's nice to have that reminder.
1,000%. I mean, I'm just lucky because my entire family is full of entrepreneurs, which is like kind of wild and rare. And I'm just like, at least they know, like, if I have a crazy idea, crazy for other people, they're like back there supporting it and cheering me on. And I'm like, you think this is gonna work? Okay, great. You do though, right?
Yeah, that's amazing. And it's not very common to have that, because a lot of people are like, go to college, do this, do that, get a corporate job and stay there for years and get that retirement and put all the money in your 401k and all this stuff. We're like,
I listened to that for a little while.
Yeah. Sometimes that doesn't work for everybody.
No, if it's in your heart to be an entrepreneur, I think you just can't shake it. It's just a fact.
I totally agree. Do you have, like, are you more of a podcast person or a book person? Like, when you're trying to find, let's say, like for me, I was looking at marketing and branding a few months ago. So I bought some books, which I'm usually a podcast person, which has been super helpful. But what do you usually gravitate towards?
Definitely books, for sure. I took a train last night and I was reading an inspirational book. That's usually where I go. I've recently branched out into podcasts, a couple of, motivational ones like, Girl Boss, The Goal Digger, and Amy Porterfield's. Those are really good ones, because also I'm trying to start my own very soon. So I'm even in a podcast room right now. So that's my 2022 thing. So I'm trying to listen to more and kind of understand the flows of them and whatnot.
Yeah, I love the Goal Digger podcast.
It's so good.
Yeah, she's amazing. Just her whole, like, from start to finish, she is incredible.
Yeah, I agree.
Her message, her positivity, her 2 amazing girls, like her podcast, her photography, everything that she has to say is incredible.
I'm such a fan. I mean, seriously, fangirl.
I know. And she's so real. I think that's why, like, she's very relatable. She doesn't sugarcoat things. She, talks about the bad things. She talks about the good things. She just, like, everybody knows she loves grilled cheeses. She talks about it all the time. Like, she just, like, that's who she is,
It's so important to be real about entrepreneurship too, because again, whenever you're in your room, you're on your laptop and you're building this empire, right? That's not built yet. You just need that reminder, like, okay, people have their downfalls sometimes too. They have their low points. Just that's another thing, like reading positive books is so important because every single success or every single book about a founder that's been wildly successful, they've had major low points. I mean, look at the founder of Spanx. You know, I think she was selling fax machines door to door.
Yeah.
And now she's like reached the $1 billion point. And so you just have to realize you do have to start somewhere. It's not all beautiful and like Instagram is.
Yeah, I know. I love her podcast on How I Built This, her interview.
Mhm.
It's so good. That's one of my favorite podcasts. But we were talking before about, because we're like a one person business. I have a developer, but like we build our brand ourselves.
Mhm.
And there's only so many hours in the day, you know?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we were talking about how people throw ideas at us and we're like, okay, yeah, like we need to do this. We need to do this. But there's only 24 hours in a day. So you were talking about ways that you kind of overcame that by hiring people. So do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. I have 2 VAs right now and they're lifesavers. So, you know, I finally gotten to a point where, okay, we got these big projects to go on. I need extra help because, you know, there's only so many hours of the day. So I've been able to do small things like, you know, can you put these, just a lot of admin stuff, I'd say. And then one of my guys is amazing at helping do web design. So we bounce ideas back and forth. Like we'll be working on the same project. And it's just fun to have that person to talk to as well. Like while you're building it, it makes it feel more real. Yeah. So I've definitely been utilizing VAs for help, a lot of admin stuff, just to take that off my plate so then I can come up with bigger projects.
Yeah, I think VAs are huge. And I didn't really know that they existed until like probably 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So how did you find yours? Because if you go on Facebook and you say, oh, I'm looking for a VA, like you are going to get bombarded with messages. So how did you find yours?
Yeah. So I reached out on one of them. My brother actually referred him to work with me, which is great. Again, having an entrepreneur brother, it's the best. But
Yeah.
that's how I found my first guy. And then my new VA, I went on to a Facebook group and I was reaching out about it. And then you just have to, you know, ask them series of questions and, you know, make sure that they're fully following the directions, because the amount of applications I got that they weren't following directions at all, they clearly didn't read anything I wrote. I was like, well, I don't want to work with someone like that. So, but this guy was super detail oriented and it's just, we've been compatible, working together. It's been a good team effort. And so I'm really happy about that.
Yeah. Are they abroad or are they US based?
They are abroad. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of companies I know that source VAs overseas. And it's a lot more cost effective because VAs here charge like upwards of like $40 an hour, which is great. But when you're starting off, you don't really have that much money to spend an hour, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I pay my developer less than that, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think definitely getting help and finding good help is super important in building your business. So where do you see your company in the next, 6 months, for example?
6 months. Well, hopefully booming. I'm excited because I'm really going to be working on social media initiatives in the next few months, increasing my awareness on there. I'm going to be launching a podcast. So I just see a lot of growth, and then hopefully I can expand my team. So that's the goal in 6 months, expand my team, have the podcast streamlined, the dream.
Yes. It's not a dream. It's going to be reality. What are you talking about?
It is. Well, little steps every day and it's going to be there.
Yes. And now you have a podcast studio, you're set.
Yeah, I know. This is so fun. I love this.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. You put me to shame for sure, but
no, this is my first time in here. And I was like, oh, I'm going to use that room. It's pretty awesome.
I love it. So thank you so much, Blaire. It was awesome. Do you want to give people your Facebook group name again, your Instagram handle, your website, just ways for people to get a hold of you?
Sure. So I'd love for anybody listening to join my group. It's a successful small business and entrepreneur community on Facebook. And then you can also find me on Instagram and basically everywhere else, social media. My handle is at Business by Blaire Brown. And just for more information about what I do, if you wanted to schedule a one-on-one call with me, it's blairebrown.com. So it's just my name, blairebrown.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Lots of awesome information, and it was good to see you again.
So great seeing you. Thank you so much for having me today.
Of course. Thank you.
Thanks.